All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Green White Checker TV. It's playoff time for the Cup Series here tonight at Loudon, New Hampshire. So the drivers putting down their qualifying laps, and you see the point standings entering the playoffs here tonight. So I'll say with the bonus points for some wins, you see Chad Wilkes, Kevin DeBrown tied for first place with their 3 wins apiece. Then you've got Larry Yingling with his 2 wins in third. And then you've got the 13 of Ryan Kelly, Gabe Butler, Maxwell Caldwell, Brandon Passalacqua, Andrew Pleshy, and Robbie Richards. They're going to be the remainder of the field taking part in the playoffs this evening. You see there's 9 drivers, so unfortunately for Brandon Passalacqua, he's not going to be able to make next week's race, so say he's kind of he's going to be stepping aside from the playoff race, so that's actually bumped in Gabe Butler into that playoff hunt, so I'll say really kind of a generous offer by Brandon, knowing that he wasn't going to be able to make all 3 races to kind of relinquish his spot to give it up to that number 1 car. So I say Gabe going to be going for his 2 playoffs as well tonight, obviously, and Thursday, and then Sunday night on the Super Speedway Cup side of things. Say they're going to be kicking that one off as well here. All right, Dale. So qualifying going on now. We think that's going to obviously be extremely critical for tonight. So these drivers are going to have a handful tonight. Sounds like they've got that push loose condition here. Where you just have so much wheel cranked into it, and then when you try to get that throttle down, that car is just going to step around on you. So these guys are going to really have to be tiptoeing through the track here tonight.
Yeah, it's almost, to compare it to Martinsville, similar shape, not in size, but Martinsville's the same thing. You're not all the way back on the throttle until you're pointed straight down the straightaway. So we're probably going to see a lot of that tonight. A lot of guys real slow off just to keep the rear tires under them.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting kind of comparison to see kind of the short run, long run pace. And so I think the big thing, too, was going to be just for drivers kind of trying to dial in this track here tonight. I think brake bias, I think that's going to be something that we may not talk about a lot, but I think that's going to be critical here tonight. So obviously too much brake bias, you're going to risk locking up the fronts. If you put too much rear, you might get that wheel hop and that car might loop around on you. So I think that's going to be a crucial thing for these drivers tonight to definitely be managing as well here.
Yeah, and with saving the tires and all that, it's rather difficult to pass here at New Hampshire. So I think we're going to see some out of the box tire strategy, maybe a couple 2-tire stops, things like that, just to gain track position where guys can.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think you're exactly right there. I think the tire strategy, pit strategy is going to also be very crucial tonight. I say if things go, depending on how you want to plan this race out, it sounds like you can make it on a 1-stopper here. It sounds like fuel window is a little bit over the 50 lap mark, so that's going to be the next question. Of course, is should we go green? To that point, we'll see if anybody decides to maybe pit a little bit earlier, if they're going to maybe try to run it all the way through. So it'll be really interesting to see what kind of strategy calls these drivers make, because like you said, pit strategy here is going to be extremely crucial. So drivers just about finishing up their qualifying laps here tonight. And again, we do need to mention, we'll pop it up on the big guy here, but again, our race this evening, we've got a sponsor for it, and it's going to be Merkel Racing Engines. See there, custom engines, parts, and sales. So you got the number there, merkelracing.com. Pretty much all the stuff you can get for his, or that he can get for his Pro Stock car. So you can look at getting some, maybe at least the similar brands for your vehicles as well. So I really appreciate Todd and everybody with Merkel Racing involved to sponsor this playoff here. It's really cool to see. And with that, I believe everybody's finished up their qualifying. So now we got to go over our starting grid. All right, pole sitter for tonight is going to be that number 67, Larry Yingling, holding off Maxwell Caldwell in the 2nd position. Then you got Kevin DeBrown, Ryan Kelly, Andrew Pleshy in 5th, James Ledford, Chad Wilkes, Brandon Passalacqua rounding out our top 8. So you see right there, though, so we've got 6 of the 8 playoff contenders here in those top 8 positions. And 9th through 16th, you've got Robbie Richards, Todd Merkel. Then you got Dude Conrad, Kevin Fries, Gabe Butler, Josh Schofner, Eric Laurie, and Michael Spell. And then the last 2 on the grid here tonight, Lewis Woodall and Nicholas Winook. All right, so the field is gridding up here, just about ready to get rolling for tonight's event. So say kind of advantage I'd say right now goes to obviously Larry Yingling having the pole position. But again, we talked about the inside deal. It's going to be tough to hold the inside line, so he's going to need to try to see if he can clear Maxwell. I feel like through 1 and 2. If Maxwell can keep to the outside, might be able to keep Larry a little bit bogged down, might be able to take control of this race. But like you mentioned, you got 5 of the top 8 playoff drivers in the top 5 in qualifying. And then, of course, Chad Wilkes in 7th. And then you got Robbie Richards 9th. And then Gabe Butler opting not to take a qualifying lap. He's going to start in the 13th position tonight.
I'll tell you, I'm looking at Ryan Kelly tonight in that 13 car, Gail. He won. I don't even want to use the term won. He dominated last week and is real strong in practice and qualifying here today.
Yeah, and I feel like, this could be something that, again, we feel like Ryan Kelly, this is kind of what suits him the best, I feel like, is these kinds of tracks where you really got to kind of manage the tires, especially as it looks like going to be another one of those like last week, sounds like managing the right front tire. I think that's going to be crucial for tonight, so I think you're exactly right, Dale. I think that's going to be critical, and saying if there's anybody who's good at managing those tires, it's going to be Ryan Kelly. Let's say, like I said, though, it's going to be kind of a mixed bag, though, because you're going to have to balance the kind of managing that right front tire, but of course, being very careful on the throttle once you get back onto it. So as we've seen a lot of times here, it's just so easy to kind of stab that throttle just a little too much here, especially now that we have that low downforce, high horsepower package. You got a lot of power behind those rear tires that are definitely going to want to light up as soon as they can.
Yeah, and we'll undoubtedly see that probably multiple times throughout the race.
Yeah, so that's where I think, like you mentioned, the tire strategy, pit strategy, I think that's going to be crucial here tonight. So the pace car is in, wait for the green flag to fly, and we are underway. Playoff race number 1 at Loudoun, New Hampshire, and we are green.
Yeah, just like you talked about, Larry, he was able to clear the outside line of Max Caldwell, and now him and Kevin get by, but that type of start to this race is really what both those bottom line drivers needed.
Yeah, you can see everybody's dicing around here trying to find some position. See the 17 Chad Wilkes working the inside of Andrew Pleshy, almost 3 wide there with the 13 of Ryan Kelly. Say Chad wasting no time in this initial start, try to gain a couple of places. Say right now, door to door with the 3 of them, still going to hold 3 wide. Now Ryan Kelly's going to clear as they head back into turn number 1.
Yeah, really, really aggressive move early on. Chad understands the track position. Didn't have a great week last week. I'm trying to make something up here and maybe prove himself a little bit.
Yeah, it's a great start for Chad. I say jumping from 7th to 5th in that opening lap there. So I say obviously, like I said, you got to kind of try to get things while you can when you got the opportunity. But yeah, I think right now it's going to be all about just again trying to manage these tires. On the entry, but I think more critically on the. Oh, you're right. I do still have that over. I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah. So right now I think managing the rear tires on the eggs. I think that's going to be really the name of the game here tonight.
Yeah, a car gets tight. You lose the right front. You can control that a little bit, and still be somewhat fast. If you lose the right rear, it's pretty much game over.
Yeah, once you get that right rear angry, it's really tough to get it back. So you're exactly right. I think that's what you see right here. I think you can tell pretty much everybody's really starting to get back to try to manage those tires a little bit. You saw a couple times Maxwell Caldwell a little loose on the exit there. You see just that little bit of bobble. He's really quick to react and recover from that. So those are going to be the things you're going to have to do to try and get those quick reactions. And you see 93 of Kevin Brown. He's working over Larry Yingling, trying to get that top spot away. Right now, Larry's still holding solid here up top.
Yeah, and both the drivers are turning real fast laps. Kevin just turned his fastest lap of the race so far here on lap 5. So kind of impressed with that being this far in.
Yeah, saying I might be something to think about too. That might be where, hey, a couple laps on tires may not be a bad thing here. Oh, you see Larry get a little loose on the throttle there off of 4. Kevin tries to take advantage, but just not quite enough as of yet here. But you can see that 93 definitely putting as much pressure as he can on that 63 as they head into turn 1 more time.
I kind of feel like he's going the wrong way about it, just from what we saw in practice. And he's driving that car in. Kevin is real deep, so he's definitely scrubbing the tires off good, but he does make it around to 67.
Yeah, and you saw Larry just roll out of it there on the straight. It was like, all right, you know what, you go ahead. So I think Larry, again, thinking big picture here. Might be feeling like you're saying, Dale, maybe that 93 running just a little too hard early on, where at least to his opinion. And we'll see. Say maybe that's going to bring Larry right back into this mix here and a handful of laps, because that's something we've talked about pretty much all season long. That 93 of Kevin Brown, he's really fast, like around the early mid portion of the race. Then once we're about halfway through that fuel run, that's where he starts to struggle a little bit in the 93. Maybe starts just kind of wearing those tires a little bit extra. So I want to see, but right now we got a really good battle here going on for second now between Larry and Maxwell. Almost contact off of two. They keep it straight though.
Yeah, that was real tight, and Larry's just kind of riding. You see him; he's falling back now. He's got Ryan Kelly looking to the inside. I don't think this is that Larry's slow here. I think this is all part of his game plan.
Yeah, I think you're right. I said this is kind of what Larry does best. Is he kind of just works at his pace. And I'll say this isn't really a track. I don't feel like that's going to be one of those where you need to have the clean air on the nose of the car for it to run better than anywhere else in the field. So I think what Larry's doing exactly here is going to be what he needs to do. I'm saying, like I said, if he can keep that right front, right rear tire in a good position here, good temps and everything, that's where he's going to really be able to make that charge later on in the run. Because right now we've got a nice little kind of stagger through the field here. Like I said, still got the top 6 playoff drivers in those top 6 positions. Brandon Paslakwa right now in the 7th spot. Like I said, unfortunately, Brandon not going to make next week, so he relinquished his spot to the 9th place driver. And then behind him, you've got the 25 of Kevin Freeze just getting passed now by Robbie Richards. Move Robbie up into the 8th position there. And I say also Robbie, so basically right now you've got 7 of the 8 playoff drivers in the top 9 positions here, Dale.
Really not a whole lot of cars moving forward right now. Lewis Woodall's up 3 spots. Josh Hofner's up 2. Kevin Freeze is up 3, but not a whole lot of moving around as far as cars going forward there.
Yeah, right now the biggest mover on track is the 33 of Nicholas Winook, as they see him there in the 33 car. He's gone +5 from 18 to 13, so he started shotgun on the field, but he's been able to make some gains here. However, you can see the gap he's got between himself and that lead pack. And I say also looking at his lap times, I'm not sure if maybe he was making a pass the last time around, but he's definitely a handful of tenths off our lead pack right now. So yeah, things are really kind of stringing out pretty quickly here at Loudon, which is kind of what you kind of expect to see, I feel like, at this track. Just with the way it drives, I say it's definitely one where I think the field will spread out pretty well.
Yeah, and as a driver, I would rather it spread out like this because, coming down the front stretch, it gets real narrow. So if somebody gets loose off and tags, the inside wall there toward the pit lane, they're coming back up the track in your lane.
Yeah, if there's trouble, it's easy to get caught up at this track because even though you feel like you're going pretty slow through the turns, but you're so committed that once something happens in front of you, it's really tough to maybe make a move. Like you're not going to be able to cut further left, and then if you try to move to the right to avoid them, it really puts you at a bad spot to wind up catching the outside wall as well. So yeah, these drivers definitely have to be on their toes with those cars around them. So we're watching Andrew Pleshy, Chad Wilkes there right now, right outside the top 5 area. And then a little further back, Robbie Richards, he's starting to put some pressure on Todd Merkel there. And then you got that 50 Josh Schofner right behind him as well. So I think right now 25 Kevin Freeze, he wants to get by that 12 of Robbie Richards, Dale, but just has not been able to make it happen. We saw him get pretty loose a few times, really trying to get that throttle down as well.
I'm looking at the 8 of Dude Conrad just come off pit road. He's now showing 2 laps down. Not sure what happened there.
Yeah, it looks like he's riding down the apron here as well. So not what he was looking for tonight. So he's going to be another one of those, though, on the super speedway side of things. I think right now he's just kind of rolling out of the way, make sure he can get in some clean track and not impede anybody's progress there. But yeah, something obviously happened early on that he had to come in and get some repairs done. Oh, actually, I say that we got a spin entering turn number 1. It's going to be the 12 of Robbie Richards, one of our playoff contenders. And it looks like it's going to be a solo spin, though. So let's go take a look, see what happened to Robbie here. That's going to bring out our first caution, though, Dale, on lap number 15. So we're watching the 25 and the 12 here. So you can see how close they are. It kind of leads me to think that there's probably going to be a little bit of contact here on the entry. As you see the 12 entering a little, he kind of brings it down inside, and then you see the 25. And yeah, it looks like just enough contact to the left rear of the 12 Robbie Richards. And like I said, these cars are just so on edge, Dale. Say any little hit you get, it's just going to loop that thing straight around. I'm saying that's exactly what we saw happen to that 12 Robbie Richards. However, I think he did a pretty good job. Yeah, he just does a little spin there, Dale, so he's going to have no damage to the car. Maybe just a little bit from that nick on the left rear quarter panel. Obviously, tires probably going to need to be replaced. However, we're going to jump back live because it looks like everybody's deciding that they want to get their tires replaced here on this first stop.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll see a 2-tire stop right now. Maybe somebody will roll the dice and do it. But I definitely think sometime during this race, somebody's going to take that gamble.
Yeah, so the other thought I have is if maybe someone's just going to put a splash of fuel in or something like that. And actually, Dale, the 2-tire strategy is really not a bad one here because, like I said, if these drivers feel like their cars are on the tight side, if they can go ahead and maybe get those left side, or sorry, just the right sides on, that's going to loosen that car up typically. So that could be a viable option. But looking on the lap times, or sorry, the pit stop times, it looks like pretty much most of the field opted to go ahead and just take 4. One driver that did pull some strategy, though, is going to be that 88 of Michael Spell. He did take fuel only in the 88 car, and he's going to cycle out into the 6th position. So that's going to jump him up a handful of spots from his 16th starting spot. And then also do need to mention that the 8 Dude Conrad was able to get one of those 2 laps back after his green flag pit stop with that lucky dog after the caution came out.
Yeah, and Michael taking his fuel only stop. A lot of drivers are going to get an education from him here, whether that was a good idea or a bad idea.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I say the other driver, I'm not sure if it was either a super fast pit stop or maybe a 2-tire stop. I'm looking at the 00 of Lewis Woodall, 11.7 seconds for the 00 car. So I don't feel like that's going to be a 4-tire stop for him. However, I mean, it could have been something where maybe it's just fuel and maybe some damage repairs or something like that. But I say because usually pit stops for 4 tires are in the 13-14 second window. So either his pit crew is on it tonight, or he may have done some strategy as well in that 00.
Yeah, and just because I said it, somebody had to prove me wrong. I'm back here looking at it, and Lewis Woodall definitely took 2 tires, took right sides only, and probably 2 cans of fuel.
All right, so we have 2. Well, as I said, Michael Spell, he decides, you know what, I'm going to come back in. So he opts to top, or he's going to come back in. We'll see if he tops off, or maybe decides to take his tires here or not. So I think, Dale, that's going to be a good point here, though. I think Lewis Woodall, he's going to be the one to watch in that 00 car. He's in that Pepsi Chevrolet, because I'd be really intrigued to see maybe that car starts to rotate a little better for him with this setup. So he started 17th, now going to be restarting in the 11th spot. And Michael Spell, actually, just a splash of fuel again, Dale. So he's still going to have the tires in the pits there. And that's the other thing that still comes into play as well. I believe there are 3 sets of tires in the pits, if I'm not mistaken. I say it's either 3 or 4 in the pits, so that could come into play depending on where cautions fall. If you can have one in the bank, maybe to use later on, when maybe some of the other guys might run out, could put you in a pretty good spot as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, and we've seen that play out. Maybe not here, but in other leagues that we have been in the past, where the fresh tires, even at the last few laps of the race, will make that big of a difference. But we're going green.
Yeah, say Kevin Brown, he has control of the restart. He gets going there. Gets a good start. You see Maxwell Caldwell try to close the door, and Larry Yingling. Larry having none of it, though. But you see Maxwell sends it into turn number 1 and 2. Wants to make sure he can clear that 67. As we talked about, these initial starting spots are going to be crucial for these drivers. So right now we've got a really good fight going on for that second spot here. And it looks like Maxwell's going to hang on to it. And then right behind them, Chad Wilkes, he's working over the 13 of Ryan Kelly. Andrew Pleshy right there. Brendan Pasalacqua as well. I said, this is, hey, you want to try to get these while you can here when you get the fresh tires and everybody's all bunched together.
And you can see everybody's taking advantage. Andrew Pleshy's now looking to the bottom of the 13 as they go in. And further back, looks like the 48's working on Todd Merkel as well.
Yeah, it looks like Andrew's going to cycle down, cycle where he was. And so you see there's the 00. We mentioned him, Lewis Woodall. Right now, still showing right around the 11th position, kind of working the top side right now. Like I said, I want to see if that car, see if maybe it starts to rotate a little bit better than maybe some of the other drivers mentioned with the 4 tires. They're saying just a little bit on the tight side. As you can see, here comes the drivers. They're putting down the fastest laps of the race on these fresh tires. Dale, say Kevin put down a 29.62, and Maxwell matched it and then beat it with a 29.57.
Yeah, and again, you know, you get 4 or 5 laps on these tires, and that seems to be where they're at their best tonight. So I'm sure these guys are taking notes on that as well. Maybe you have an extra set, and you get within that 5 lap mark, you might, you know, think of a different strategy.
Yeah, I think that's where I think you're exactly right. I think that's where it's going to come into play. If you can kind of time things right, I could put you in a really good position. So right now, say you were talking about Todd Merkel a little earlier. He's in the 9th position now in the 81 car, started in 10th. So he's been able to build a little bit of a gap now between himself and Lewis Woodall. Again, Lewis on the 2 tires versus everybody else on the 4. Say Michael Spell's the 1 driver on fuel only. I'm in the 88 car, and I'm looking back, and he's fallen a fair bit off the pack here, Dale. Not sure he's had some issues or contact. That car definitely not up to par here right now with compared to the rest of the guys on track.
Looking at him, trying to see if there's any damage. Yeah, he's got a little bit of right front damage, it looks like, so there's definitely been some contact.
Yeah, it'll definitely not hurt his won't help his chances there. So you wonder, I mean, that may have been some contact with him, just, let's say, like I said, being on those older tires, maybe just wasn't able to keep up, and maybe someone just tried to get around him, a little bit of contact there, or say just older tires on the heat cycle may have put him in a bad spot as well. So he is still on the lead lap, but unfortunately, say a fair bit back now, about 3.5 seconds off the car in front of him for position. So he's gonna have to hope for some breaks to get back up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at, you know, Michael Spell running almost 31 flats, so it just kind of shows you how important those fresh tires are, as Kevin Brown just turned a 29.9.
Yeah, so up front leaders are running pretty similar pace, about a tenth or two apart from one another. Pretty much the top 5 or so, all in the 29.9 is a 30.1. So I say, but Kevin doing what he did last time. I say once he got to the front, he's trying to really make some hay, try to see if he can kind of build a gap on these guys in front of him. And I say, but Maxwell Caldwell, he's still having to fight off that 67 Larry Yingling. I think Larry probably gonna have to be a little more aggressive. I feel like this run here, Dale, because we saw that. Let's say, it just depends on when those cautions fall. You may not have the opportunity to get that long run to kind of use it to your advantage. So I'll be curious to see how that one kind of works out as well. And then right behind them, you've got Chad Wilkes, Ryan Kelly still holding in the 4th and 5th positions, respectively. And then right behind them, Andrew Plush. He's got a nice little margin, though, over the 21 of Brandon Pasalacqua.
Now, Ryan Kelly shows a little bit of speed on that last lap, as he's about half a tenth faster than everybody else.
Yeah, you see he's closed the gap on Chad. He's going to peek to the inside here in turn number 3. But we talked about that inside line is tough to make the passes happen here at Loudon. And so that's what makes this track so difficult. As I said, I see a spin in front of the field here. It looks like it was a 0.71 of Eric Laurie. It looks like he took a quick toe. That is going to put us back under yellow here, Dale. And I said, this is, I think, where that the pit strategies could come into play, like you mentioned, for some of those that pitted and some that stayed out.
Yeah, 12 laps, 13 laps on this set of tires. Michael Spell still got 3 sets on the wall, but everybody else only has 2. I think now is the time. Yeah.
Yeah. See, Eric Laurie just loses it through 3 and 4. So you can see what he does though. Say once he slides, it still brings the caution out. He gets as low as he can to make sure he doesn't affect anybody, and then takes an immediate toe to avoid any damage to anybody else. So good heads up for Eric Laurie. It's unfortunate, not what he was hoping for. As we looks like we're gonna get some mixed strategy. Maxwell Caldwell, he's gonna stay out. Gonna be kind of lonely out there. As they said, here comes a whole bunch more stepping out. So now the question's gonna be though, are these guys gonna be taking? Just maybe put a splash of fuel in, because we're at 70 to go. I don't think that's going to be enough to make it to the end. Say fuel window, I believe, is going to be in the about like mid to upper 50s, if I heard correctly. Yeah, it looks like tires are going on these guys, so tires critical. I think Ryan Kelly opting to pull some strategy there, Dale, in the 13. 2 tires for him. So let's say we're going to see one of our front runners now making that 2-tire call. However, they're going to have a handful of cars now to try to work around, because I see about 7 cars on the lead lap that opted to go ahead and stay out this caution.
Yeah, I seen a couple 2-tire stops in there. A lot of 4-tire stops. These guys got to realize we're not a third through this race yet, and they've already burnt 2 of their 4 sets of tires.
Yeah, I'm wondering that. I'm wondering that myself. I say, unfortunately, I can't really look without, let's say, showing everybody. But are you able to verify in the race info that they have 4 sets in the pit still?
Let's look.
So I do need to mention, you just saw Gabe Butler in the 1 car. He opts to go ahead and decided to hop in and pit. So he's going to drop back some spots from where he had cycled through after staying out. Also, the 8 Jude Conrad back on the lead lap after those 2 cautions. That's going to put him back in position here. I say Eric Laurie, I believe, either still taking a tow or possibly some damage repairs, but right now showing 2 laps down in that 071.
Yeah, they actually tire limit for this race is actually 5.
All right, so they had 5 sets in the pits, so that's going to leave Kevin and Larry and company with 3 sets left, though. So that's 3 sets over the course of 70 laps. So it's going to be interesting. I say it still could wind up being a tire strategy. Like I said, if they keep, it seems like it's about 15 or so laps we get a caution. They're not going to be able to do that too much more in this race. Otherwise, like I said, they're going to be out pretty quick. So at some point, they're going to have to opt to stay out. So basically, those guys that stayed out with Maxwell Caldwell, Kevin Freese, Todd Merkel, Lewis Woodall, Robbie Richards, and Nicholas Winook, all of those drivers are basically right now have 1 extra set of tires compared to the rest of the field. Saying Lewis Woodall, he's still got all of his sets of left side tires as he only took rights on that first stop.
Yeah, we got looking at the guys who took 4 tires. Kevin Brown's restarting in 8th. He's got a lot of cars to get through, and that's definitely going to wear that rubber off his car quick.
Yeah, I think actually it's a really great call by Maxwell here, because I say he's going to now be able to control this restart, and I say he's going to have some drivers that were maybe a little further back in the field, and like I said, Kevin and Larry, Ryan, Chad, all those guys, they're going to have to try to work their way back up through this field. So saying Ryan Kelly on the 2 tires, I'm really intrigued to see what he's going to have in store for us tonight, because I really want to see what those 2-tire strategy is going to be here. But pace car's in, and Maxwell is down and away. Gets a great start here. He's going to easily clear up 25 with Kevin Freese in turn number 1.
Yeah, he didn't get a great start there on the outside, and Kevin Brown being very aggressive, putting him 3 wide into 1.
Yeah, that's where you got to be very careful, though, because like I said, everybody's on different tires, and we've seen before the 2 tires versus the 4 tires, they drive very differently. Also, the old tires on the heat cycle as well. So, like you mentioned, that 93 car is working over Larry Yingling. Actually, Larry's going to get that spot as he's going to try to squeeze between himself and the 12, I should say, of Robbie Richards. And you see also Chad Wilkes, he's trying to work him over as well. So right now Kevin does not have a path here, so he's kind of in between, kind of one of those things where you're kind of in between a rock and a hard place, has to duck to the inside. So he's going to drop a couple spots from that. Oh, you see contact in the back. I think 25 and the 50 made some contact with one another. Looks like they stay green. We'll take a quick look at it here real fast. As we're coming out of turn number 2, see Brandon Paslock go down on the inside here. And actually, I think Josh got loose, actually gets into the side of the 21. And so that's where Josh gets up into the inside wall. So both cars getting a little bit of damage, by far the 50 getting the worst of it, though. But able to keep it straight. So we stay green. I'm going to jump up, though, because we talked about that 2-tire strategy. Ryan Kelly, he's up to now the 2nd spot, Dale. So that 2-tire call working great for Ryan here.
Ryan's made some great moves. I'm watching back here this battle between Larry Yingling, Chad Wilkes, Todd Merkel, and Kevin Brown. And Kevin Brown is struggling right now.
Yeah, I mean, he had the track position, he had the clean air, but now it's all to fight for again. So he's able to get back up now into the 5th position in the... Oh, no, sorry, the 6th position, apologies. But yeah, right now just not able to... Say now trying to work over that 17 of Chad Wilkes, but... I say obviously Chad's going to be a tough one to pass. Again, you kind of get pinned in the bottom. You can't put the power down like you'd want to. So you see Larry, he's working over Kevin Freeze again. Kevin stayed out, so Larry's going to definitely have the tire advantage there. But say when you're in the position where Kevin is here, now working over Kevin. As I see in the back, we have 33 Nicholas Winook. He's spinning on the exit, saves it. We're going to stay under green. But I was going to mention, actually, Kevin probably able to actually use Kevin Freeze as a pick there to find a way to get around that 17 of Chad Wilkes there.
Yeah, Kevin Freeze using him as a pick, and Chad got a little bit loose off the corner, so that obviously helped. It shows you Wilkes is just driving the wheels off his car right now. He does not want to lose any more positions. He wants to start gaining them.
Yeah, saying for Ryan Kelly, he has got to our race leader, Maxwell Caldwell. Again, Maxwell's got about 12 lap or so older tires than these guys behind him. The difference is, though, Ryan Kelly, again, just 2 right side tires on a 13 car. Larry Yingling right now, the first of those on the 4 tires. So it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of strategies and what kind of pace these guys have, as you see Ryan Kelly all over the back of Maxwell.
Yeah, it's really impressive what 2 tires can do here, as we're seeing. I mean, I know that Max is on older tires, but the longer Larry stays behind these 2, the more wear he's taking, obviously, and it really gives Ryan
contact. Ryan Kelly was just to the inside of the 94. Maxwell Caldwell just hooked him there. So I don't think any intention there, but Maxwell getting by far the worst of that one. And say again, I think he was just trying to stay right to the right rear quarter. Unfortunately, just a little bit of contact. We'll take a quick look one more time here. Say no caution flew from that though. Actually, that's tight. So I can't tell if maybe Maxwell came down off the wall just the teeniest of bits or not. But yeah, so say that's where they see it. Unfortunately, sends him straight into the inside wall. Pretty hard hit as well. And going to try to get going. I think the 82 Andrew Pleshy, I think reacting to that, he may have caught the outside wall a little bit as well. I see some right front damage to his car. But we'll jump back live here though, Dale, because now that's put Larry Yingling to the lead. But here comes Kevin Brown. He's going to work back over the 67. He wants to get back control of this race. And then you see right behind them the 2 tires of Ryan Kelly and then Chad Wilkes in 4th. So we got pretty much the top 4 within about 7/10 of a second here.
Yeah, I don't think Larry's going to give this position up as easily as he did the first time. He saw Kevin Brown yard the field last 2 runs. So I think he's going to hold on to everything he can.
Yeah, so you can see Kevin's still working the inside as much as he can. Larry's, like I said, going to have to try to hold this line on the top, keep the momentum on the exit. But right now, Kevin really holding strong on that inside groove here. And yes, you are right, Jamie. The P next to the names are the playoff contenders. There are 8 drivers that are in this playoff hunt. We're going to be 8 drivers this week and next week, and then it'll dwindle down to 4 for our championship finale in Phoenix.
You know, Ryan Kelly's, I think he's onto something here. He's only about a 10th off, it looks like. I mean, everybody's racing around him, obviously, so it's slowing some guys down. But he has not done horrible at all with his 2-tire strategy.
Yeah, so the curious will be also as the run progresses how things go. So I'll say we're not quite at the halfway point. Still got 57 to go here. And say Larry and Kevin, I mean, they are putting on a whale of a show right now up front. They're just fighting tooth and nail, but giving each other enough room, enough respect, and that's really what you love to see with these races. And that's exactly how you want these races to be, where you can run something hard but clean. And I mean, these guys are doing. You can see they give each other probably about at least a half a width or so car width between the 2 of them through the turns. But they're just right now Larry's kind of got the advantage on the exit. Kevin's got the advantage through the turns. But you can see just that little bit of momentum Larry picks up on these exits.
Yeah, and I've talked to both of these drivers quite a bit. They enjoy hard racing like this, so I'm sure they're having a really good time with it. However, for me, it is very stressful.
It is. I mean, especially at a track like this. I mean, it's so difficult. You know how tight it is in the middle of the turn, and then of course once you try to get the throttle down, you have so much wheel input into it. Just wants to spin around on you. So these guys are having to manage that as perfectly as easily. Larry just slides it off of turn number 2. It looked like Kevin had just about cleared him, but Larry with that big exit is able to get right back to the side of that 93 car entering turn 3.
Yeah, and Kevin's able to gain maybe inches a lap if he's lucky. Still doesn't clear him this time. Yeah, he does. He got by him barely.
Oh man, Larry, I don't know if you could put a piece of paper between that 67 on the outside wall there. I mean, you could see right there, Dale, though, Larry was doing everything he could to keep that 93 pinned behind him. But let's say Kevin was able to kind of keep persistent, finally able to get that spot. And you can see already building up a little bit of a gap between himself and Larry. And saying while they were doing that, that's also brought Chad Wilkes, Ryan Kelly, and Andrew Pleshy. Andrew making some pretty big moves. He's been actually the quickest car on track the last handful of laps here.
Andrew was very, very strong in practice, so not surprised to see him up here doing what he's doing.
Yeah, so Andrew now kind of in a little spot here. We can kind of see all the leaders, kind of see the lines they're running, where they need to be putting themselves in. And so, yeah, right now he's putting himself in that 5th position here. Do need to go back to Maxwell Caldwell. Say he's that driver that opted to stay out under that under the caution, and unfortunately that contact between himself and Ryan Kelly on the front stretch where he got a pretty big shot there. He has fallen back to the 10th position. His lap times though they're kind of evening out a little bit here. He's definitely off pace of our lead pack there, partially of course due to tires, but of course also from that damage that 94 car. So. I think for Maxwell, he's going to probably be forced to take that one fast pair on his next pit stop here, which right now we're on lap number 20 of the fuel run for the guys that pitted, lap number 33 for those that did not pit. So should that come into play, I think that gives us about 20 to 30 more laps before we have to see some of our lead pack drivers make their pit stops.
Yeah, the important thing for Matt Caldwell is he did not lose a lap. He's running in the top 10, which is amazing. Because he just completely killed the wall. So he's not going to lose a whole bunch. Actually showing him in 9th.
Yeah, so right now he's at a big battle for that 9th position between the 94 and the 12. As I said, the 12 gets loose off of 2. Almost spins it around, grabs a lead here again. And he is going to grab a gear and get going again. So could have been worse, able to hang on to it. So, and as I said, that leaders just crossed the halfway mark of this race. So Kevin Brown, you see him actually get a little loose there in one there, Dale. So he gathers it back up quickly though. So we'll have to see again. We'll see what that tire wear does for these drivers. But right now, say Kevin's still holding off Larry Yingling, and then that 17 and Chad Wilkes was able to get around Ryan Kelly, and he's up into that 3rd spot.
Yeah, Larry and Kevin need this thing to go long. They're 2 sets down. You got Chad Wilkes back here running strong. Ryan Kelly, who has plenty of tires left, obviously. And then Matt Caldwell's still not out of the picture, so they need this run to go as long as it possibly can.
Yeah, exactly right. And I have a few drivers here pitting. I think this might be kind of doing the road course strategy where they actually pit early and just try to get the pit stop out of the way. We'll wait and see. But Jude Conrad, Josh Schofner, they're both in the pits. And as I say that, though, Ryan Kelly in the 13 car, he's starting to work over that 17 of Chad Wilkes. Even with those 2 tires, he's still finding a way to get some good pace out of that 13.
Yeah, Chad was really aggressive, though, in those first 10 laps, and that's when these tires have the potential to take the most abuse when they're getting up to pressure. You know, how you treat them those first 10 laps kind of dictate the run, and Chad was being very aggressive. So I'm not entirely surprised to see this, especially that it's Ryan Kelly behind.
Yeah, so leader's working on a little bit of traffic there. So I'm trying to see what Carlos. Oh, just getting around Eric Laurie there. You see Eric giving the top side though, lets them on by there. So I was saying that's what you want to see if you're a leader. Say if they can just kind of give you the racing line and then you kind of slot back in. That was exactly what Eric Laurie did there. So I'm sure leader's very appreciative of that. But let's say Kevin's starting to stretch out a little bit. Dale, he's actually got up to just over a second now over Larry Yingling in that 67 car. So that 93 car, he's starting to find his legs under him even about halfway through this fuel run.
Yeah, and this is, we talked about at the beginning of the race, this is where he tends to fall off, where he's gave it everything the car can handle, and people start reeling him in, but he's done pretty well.
Yeah, so I mean, and this is usually one of those things we see too. Once it comes playoff times, everybody kind of ramps their game up a little bit. So I say in talking with Kevin a little bit before the race, he wasn't feeling the most comfortable about this car and this track combo, but like I said, I mean, obviously you got some good laps under his belt and has been able to really make some good time out of it. So again, still lots of time to go here. Like I said, just crossed the halfway point a little bit ago, 45 to go still in this one. So right now, so you can still see the top 5 all within about 2.5 seconds of one another. They've really separated themselves out in the 6th position. Kevin Fries. Kevin's one of those that did not pit, Dale, so he's doing the best of those that opted to stay out under that caution. However, again, about 8 seconds off the lead, and he's got Brandon Pasalacqua in that 21 car that's starting to close the gap on him for that 6th spot.
Yeah, and I haven't really mentioned Brandon yet this race, but he's I think he's going for the long play here, just trying to keep the car clean and see what happens in front of him.
Yeah, so it looks like he does have a little bit of right front damage, probably is affecting his pace at the moment. As actually I see a car spin, it's going to be Eric Laurie. That's going to put the caution back out here, Dale. That's going to put everybody in the window here to make it to the end. Unfortunately, one driver that this really actually winds up burning, though, is going to be that 12 of Robbie Richards. He was in the pits when that caution came out, so that's going to trap him a lap down. Should be able to get the wave around and get back onto the lead lap here. Won't go 2 down, so that's going to be a critical thing for him as you see he goes around the pace car there. So I mean, at this point, though, I think there's going to be no strategy for these leaders, Dale. It's going to be 4 tires, fuel, and then from there, and then now it's going to be all about the decisions on the track position strategies to the rest of the way.
Yeah, you can see a handful of guys here: Mac Caldwell, Todd Merkel, Lewis Woodall, Nicholas Winook, going to take 4 tires, and their speed is going to increase greatly because they have not pitted in 42 laps.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty big break for those that had not pitted there, so I think this works out very well for them. And like I said, and again, they have that extra set of tires now, so depending on if there's any more cautions and how they fall, it could definitely affect the outcome of this race. So right now, leaders all hitting the pits again. I don't think we're going to see anybody opt to do any strategies here on staying out. But you never know, and I don't think we'll see 2 tires here either, Dale. I think this is a long enough run. I think everybody's going to want to have 4 here.
Yeah, I don't suspect anybody's going to try any kind of strategy or play any games. I mean, it's everything everybody's got's been pretty well used up at this point.
Yeah, I see Maxwell went ahead and used that fast repair there. I think that's the decision he had to make there in that 94 car. And it looks like race off pit road. Larry's going to get this one back here. It was a close race, but Larry going to win the race off pit road, and then it was tight between the 17 and the 13 as well. But I believe Chad Wilkes going to hang on to that 3rd spot as well.
Larry and Kevin Brown had identical pit stops, 14.3s, but it just shows you how important having that closest stall to the exit is.
Oh yeah, no, you're exactly right. Yeah, the being pole position, I mean, you drop a gear and you kind of just have to just goose it a little bit and you're across the line. So yeah, the pole position definitely a huge benefit for your track position, especially under caution flag pit stops. You see Robbie Richards there in front of the pace car. This isn't going to wind up too bad for him, actually, Dale. Because he had just pitted. He literally left the pits as the caution was coming out. So what he's going to be able to do here is get back on the lead lap with this wave around here once we get the 1 to go, and he's going to be on equal footing, tires and fuel with the leaders here. So all not lost for the 12, because again, Robbie's one of our playoff drivers as well. Right now, him and Gabe Butler haven't been having the nights they've been hoping for at a very difficult Loudon, but it's going to definitely open up some opportunities for them though still as they stay on the lead lap.
But sometimes you catch breaks and everybody, well, top 15 are still on the lead lap. Robbie Richards is going to get his with a wave around, and the big break goes to Max Caldwell, obviously, after his wreck, wasn't solo, but didn't bring out a caution, caused severe damage, and rolled him back in the field a good bit.
Yeah, same, but he's going to come out of here. It looks like he's going to restart, I believe, in the 7th position. So, I mean, that's, for all things considered, that's a pretty good recovery for him to be restarting in that position that he's in. One thing I've been trying to poke around the chat a little bit here and there, trying to keep up with it, and your brother's mentioning that we're his 4th and 9th favorite broadcasters. So now the question is, who's 4th and who's 9th?
I don't even want to go, try to fill in the gaps, because I didn't know he could name that many broadcasters. I thought 4 was a lot for him.
I was gonna say I thought you weren't gonna be sure you could count that high, but okay.
Yeah.
You're being a little nicer than I would have been.
Well, he was in a farming accident at a young age and is missing a couple digits, so it might be difficult.
Yeah, so he can count as high as both hands go to, right? But no, in all seriousness, really appreciate you guys being on here for the broadcast. It's always fun to see the chats. So pace car back in though, Dale. We're going to restart here. 39 to go. Larry Yingling going to lead them off here on this restart. Kevin Brown on the outside. Then you got Chad Wilkes, Ryan Kelly in row number 2. You see Larry gets a great restart there. Chad Wilkes also able to get right with him.
Yeah, they absolutely caught Kevin Brown sleeping on that one. Andrew Pilecki's looking underneath of him, coming off too. Kevin's going to clear him and set his sights on Chad Wilkes.
And that's just one of those things, though, Dale. I feel like if you're on the inside line behind the leader, you have just that much bigger of an advantage over the driver to the outside of the leader. I feel like you can see, you can kind of react a little bit better to the leader than you can if you're to the outside of him, where he's kind of in your peripheral. So I'll say right now, Kevin's going to have to try to see if he can get everything back here. I say first, obviously going to be a tough pass here to get around that 17 of Chad Wilkes. We've seen the pace that Chad has had. This is the highest up he's been so far this race, so you know he's going to want to keep that track position. But at the same time, you know Kevin's going to want to try to get back to the point here in that 93 car.
Yeah, and honestly, it would have took Kevin a lot longer to get around him last time if it hadn't been for traffic. But he cleared him pretty easily this time, and he's going to try to run up here and get a hold of Larry.
Yeah, so now that's going to set Kevin's sights on Larry. As I said, a little caution's back out here. Michael Spell around the 88 car. Heavy damage to the front end of that one. That's going to bring caution back out here. So he's missing his hood and the front clip. Whatever he hit hard. Let's go see what happened to Michael in that 88. So it looks like it was coming out of turn number 4 here. So he's got a pretty decent gap around him, so I'm thinking this is just probably a little bit over aggression on the throttle pedal, and that's exactly what it is. You see as soon as he gets on the throttle, it just starts to step out on him. And then you can kind of see the path that this car is about to go to, and it's not one you ever want to have. And that's going to be right at the tire barriers at the entry of the pits. And it doesn't take much to rip the front end off of those cars doing that. So I was able to, just a solo incident there, so he's going to definitely need a fast repair as long as he has one. But I say with that caution, say again, everybody's in their fuel window here to the end. That's only about about 3-4 lap run at most there under green. So I don't think we're going to see any pit stops here from our front runners. But what this does do, Dale, is this puts Kevin having to probably going to have to work real hard again on this restart to try to keep that second spot, because we saw what happened in that last one.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's pretty much the way it was at the last restart. Kevin's going to start on the outside. I suspect Larry and Chad will clear him again. I mean, it's a very difficult place to start, especially here. It did move Max Caldwell up one position, so he's happy to make that little bit of a gain. But again, it puts him on the outside now as well.
Yeah, so he's going to have Ryan Kelly to his inside, which that's not a bad thing to have, because we know those guys raced together a lot with one another. And it's actually, I'm looking at it now, and yeah, actually, I say Kevin's kind of been in between a rock and a hard place here, because he's pretty much surrounded by a lot of these guys that race with one another. I think they also use the same Discord channel as well, so that could also be part of it as well, where Larry and Chad, Andrew, Ryan, and company, they might be kind of in communication with one another, but okay, you can count down the restarts, things of that nature, whereas Kevin's going to have to just kind of base it on his reactions to Larry. So I say that could put him in a tough situation here, and that's just something that, I mean, that's one of the things where sometimes it's good to have some friends and teammates that you race with week in, week out, because you get into these positions, and we've been there before too, where it's like if you want somebody to win, you're going to want it to be one of your buddies. So it's going to make life that much more difficult for that 93 car.
Oh, absolutely, and I mean, we've been guilty of that in the past. These guys have been guilty of that in the past. Pretty much everybody who's on iRacing and has friends on the service is, time to restart or help their buddy at one point or another.
Yeah, I was saying you're exactly right. And so like I say, I know season 8 not too far away. So I'm sure Kevin's gonna be real excited to have you in the field with him, because he's gonna be hoping to have some friendship with you in that 94 car. So we mentioned before. So you're gonna have Maxwell Caldwell. He's going to take over booth duty as well, as he starts getting prepped for his wedding. Doesn't have the time to kind of run on track and do the laps that he needs to be ready for these races. So you get to hop in that 94 car. So I think Kevin's going to be real excited to have you working with him, or he assumes that, I should say, that you're going to be working with him here in season 8.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to be in the 94. That's the number I've ran since NASCAR for back in 2000, so 21 years. Real happy that Max is relinquishing that for a season, but they did say I could race with them anytime they wanted, guys like Larry Yingling and Chad Wilkes and company. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, same. I mean, take your free agency, try to get the most you can out of it. Say see who's got the best offers for you. Say obviously Kevin, he's got the kind of the local advantage, but say they got strength in numbers. So I say I'd say see who offers the best services to kind of take your talents there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just don't take your talents to South Beach. That seems to end up really badly for people. All right, Dale. Going to restart here. 32 to go when they cross the line. Again, business going to be start picking up here. So we saw that quick yellow. Just again from the unfortunate, just the 88 got loose and caught the inside pit wall. He is back on track here as Larry Yingling going to lead the field away. Again, quick start for him. Now it's going to be up to Kevin to try to get a good reaction. You can see quickly tries to react and get behind that 17 of Chad Wilkes. Ryan Kelly right on the back bumper. A little bit of a bump there entering turn number 1.
Yeah, just tight race and everybody's trying to get what they can. But it happened exactly like we talked about. I mean, Larry and Chad Wilkes left simultaneously.
Yeah, so you see Andrew Pleshy. He's now bumped up to 3rd. I think that's the highest he's been all race long. And now Kevin, again, he's going to have it all to fight for. Again, you see he's trying to work over Maxwell Caldwell to hold on to that 4th position. So he just isn't quite clear. Has to hug the inside line here as they hit turn number 1 one more time here. 31 to go there. So, like I said, this is one of the things we talked about. And you can see finally is able to clear the 94 car. And like you talked about, Dale, the qualifying, the pit stall position, of course, say tire strategy as well, that could all come into play here. As you can see, Kevin Maxwell, Maxwell not wanting to give up that position. He's going to send it there in turn number 3.
Yeah, and you know, he's back up into 5th after that accident. He wants to get back up in the lead where he was when he wrecked. So we're going to see some real aggression out of Max Caldwell these next couple of laps.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of aggression from all of these drivers. You can see Kevin, he's gotten right to the quarter panel of Andrew Pileshi now. So again, Kevin's going to try to gain these spots. He lost back. Last time he fell back to 3rd. This time he fell back to 4th, almost 5th. And it looks like he's going to be able to clear Andrew. We'll see if he can get the exit that he needs to clear him completely. He does. So now he's going to have that 17 of Chad Wilkes next line as Maxwell. He's going to work on trying to follow through and try to see if he can grab that 4th spot from Andrew Pileshi.
Yeah, and I think Andrew might have went a little easy on Kevin on that one, just because him and Mac Caldwell are buddies, like we had talked about. And hey, these two cars are obviously faster. I don't want to hold my friend up, so we'll let the lead car go.
Saw Ryan Kelly had thoughts about 3 wide there, decided to roll out of it, thought better of it. So now he's going to try to follow with Maxwell Caldwell, see if he can follow him through. You see Andrew big loose off of 4. He's going to hang on to it. That's going to give Ryan a little bit of momentum here in turn number 1 as he's going to peek inside. But now he's got to try to keep that car underneath him as they just about rub doors there through 1 and 2. And right now, they're going to stay side by side on the exit of 2.
Yeah, just real tight race. And, you know, these guys are, in my opinion, being super brave trying to make 3 wide moves, because I'd never think about that at a place like New Hampshire.
Yeah, so we're going to jump back up now to the 93 of Kevin Brown. He is all over the back bumper of that 17 of Chad Wilkes. Again, this is, let's say, we saw Kevin get around him a little earlier, a little easier before that caution. But again, I think tires are starting to lose that little bit extra wear. And actually, as I say that caution back out here, Dale, it's going to be the 12 of Robbie Richards. He is around. That's going to bring out the yellow. This will be number 5 of the race, right just at about the 3/4 distance mark. And it looks like we had a pass, trying to make a pass. So you see the 12 looking low on the 25, then you had the 00 looking low on the 12. And so unfortunately for Robbie, he's kind of been on the receiving end of 2 contacts now to the left here, entering turn number 1. So I think this one winds up a little worse for him, just a little nudge to the outside wall this time. So last time just looped it around, was able to save it, but unfortunately it's going to cost him some track position again, fall back to the 15th spot. So now it's a question about the tire strategy. Does anybody pit here? Do they stay out 2 tires, 4 tires? It's going to be very intriguing to see what the strategy calls are going to be from these drivers here.
There's a couple drivers I can think that's going to come in and get tires. Michael Spell, you know, for him, why not at this point?
And it looks like most of the leaders going to stay out here. Maxwell Caldwell will be the first of those of our leaders to pit, along with Ryan Kelly. So they're going to have about 15 or so lap fresher tires than the leaders. And not a ton of cars actually. It looks like there's going to be about 6 that stay out. Say the 071 Eric Lurie, he should get the wave round, which will put him back to 3 down in the 071 car. So yeah, so top 6 stay out here, Dale. 7th on back are pitting. So now the question is, we'll jump to our pit stops, and right now looks like 4 tires, and yeah, it looks like 4 tires for everybody. I was curious to see if anybody would try 2, but it looks like leaders, or sorry, the pitters here are all going to go with the 4 tires.
Watching the 88 of Michael Spell, I think he had started with a 2-tire stop and then changed it because he ran long and at 20, probably 19 seconds into his pit stop, they were changing less. So I think he might have changed that mid stop.
Yeah, I kind of make the alternate call. Say you know what, I'm far enough back here, probably not worth using just the 2 there. So it's getting down to it though, Dale. Say we're gonna restart here. Right now, lights are still in the pace car, so. At least one more time around, which I believe is going to probably have us restarting with just over 20 to go, probably about 21 to go if I'm not mistaken. So a little difference in the running order now. So Kevin's going to restart 3rd behind Larry. I'll say that's going to put Chad to his outside. So this is where Larry has to be careful. I mean, obviously, again, you want to try to help your friends out to keep them the best positions they can. But now he's going to have one of those guys to his outside. So how much do you really want to help that guy to your outside? Because if they can stay pinned to your outside, that could wind up keeping you pinned low and not be able to get that throttle down like we've talked about before.
Yeah, I mean, that's the risk. And then Kevin Brown's in the favorable position here, starting on the bottom. Todd Merkel's right behind him, so you don't want to really mess around too long with somebody when you're outside and let them get in position to make a pass as well.
Yeah, and so Maxwell Caldwell, he's going to be the first out of the pits on the fresh tires. He's going to be in the 7th position on the inside line as well. And then Ryan Kelly to his outside in 8th. I was mentioning Andrew Pleshy in the 4th spot to the outside line. We saw him have a great restart on that last one, so he's going to try to get that done again. But obviously for Maxwell and Ryan here, first goal for them is to try to clear that 81 and 00 as quick as they can. And then set their sights on these guys on those older tires. Alright, so lights are off. We will be restarting here. 22 to go at the line. So we've had 5 cautions so far. Like I said, I think business is going to be heating up. Everybody's going to be ramping up that aggression that little bit more here. So I'll say again, Larry Yingling is going to have control of this restart. We'll see how everybody reacts according to him now on this one here.
Wasn't a horrible move by Larry there.
Yeah, it looks like, let's say, you still see Chad kind of tied to his outside. But you see on the outside line, you see Ryan Kelly, catches the wall a little bit on the entry, trying to get everything he could on that start. And then the 94 Maxwell Caldwell, he gets into the back of the 81 of Todd Merkel. It looked like on the exit. We'll go back and look. That's going to bring the caution back out here. So we're going to be doing it one more time again. And I think we may have had a position change up front as well when this is all going on. But I'll say I think we were pretty much, we were 4 wide here on this restart as well, Dale. So you see the 94 behind the 81. You got the 00. You got Ryan Kelly to the outside of the 00. Then here comes Maxwell to the inside. Again, these guys want to try to get by quickly. So say 4 wide at loud on entry. It's not an easy thing to do. I think that's where you see Ryan Kelly just get a little too high here. He gets a little loose once he gets into that marbles. So not a huge hit, a little bit of a hit to the outside wall. I don't think that's going to be anything of concern for him. But then as they went on, we saw that little bit of contact off of turn number 2 here. From at least from what I saw. We'll double check to make sure that's accurate. And yeah, it looks like Maxwell just catches the left rear quarter panel of Todd Merkel there. Saying again, these cars, especially when you're on the throttle, just nothing you can do. At that point, that's going to loop Todd around. Just a quick 360 for Todd, though. He grabs a gear. He's back going again. And so that puts us back under yellow. And what I was going to mention about the position change, Dale, looks like I was wrong. I thought I saw Andrew Pleshy possibly get around the 893 of Kevin DeBrown, but looks like Kevin able to hold on to 3rd. So he's going to restart again in that 3rd spot. on the inside line. Definitely did better than when he was on the outside line. And Eric Laurie, he's going to get one more lap back, put him back to 2 down. So say we're going to be restarting this one now within 20 to go when we go green next time around.
Yeah, and Larry went really early for Larry last time. You just try to switch it up. Really keep Chad off his outside and give Chad a better chance of getting down at the bottom, quite honestly.
Yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, I mean, and for Larry, I mean, you have to. You can't pull the same moves every time because eventually they're going to start like, okay, Larry's going to probably leave between this point and this point. That's where the driver's behind him. You start kind of creeping up just a little extra bit, try to gain that extra mile an hour or two before you react to the leader there. So it's definitely something that that you have to really kind of keep the drivers around you on your toes between leaving late, leaving early. Because with iRacing, we don't have that restart window like in NASCAR where you have that box basically where it's like maybe about 2 car lengths long that you have to restart in within reason, because we've seen other drivers always are able to kind of squeeze a little bit extra out of it one way or the other. But here in iRacing, it's basically once that pace car leaves the racing surface, it's up to Larry. And so Larry's got plenty of time to decide when he wants to go. So that definitely gives him a little bit more flexibility to kind of keep mixing it up to keep these drivers on their toes here.
Worth mentioning, I mean, some of these are obviously yellow flag laps, but I'm showing 25 this time since Larry's last pit stop, the top 4 actually. And then pretty much everybody behind them has much fresher tires.
Yeah, exactly right. So this time Ryan Kelly's going to restart in 6th. Maxwell Caldwell's going to restart in 7th as we get the 1 to go. And so I do need to mention, though, Lewis Woodall in that 00 car, he did pit the caution after the leaders, so he's kind of in the middle spot here. He's got fresher tires than the guys in front of him, but older tires than the guys behind him. So he's kind of in that little odd spot in between these guys, and saying he's also in a really tough position here because I say you've got the 4 playoff guys in front of him, 2 playoff guys behind him, directly behind him, I should say. So you know that you're kind of in a dangerous spot here because you want to do the best you can for yourself, but you know these guys are going to be going for everything they have also. So Lewis, good luck because, it's going to be busy around you.
Yeah, but playoff guys or not, Lewis wants to be up here and have a chance to win this thing. So
Exactly right, and that's exactly it. I mean, again, that's what makes these playoffs very interesting with NASCAR and with here now with Area 51 is you're racing 7 other drivers and then the rest of the field. So that said, Larry is down and away. It looks like this time gets a much better restart. You see Chad Wilkes, I think, is going to clear Kevin, get to the inside should he choose to, and he is going to drop down into turn 1. Andrew Pleshy going to try to follow through as well. So now this is where Kevin's going to have to fight hard on the inside line, and he's door-to-door with the 82 as they come out of 2.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew almost got clear of him going into 1, so it's a good job by Kevin to hold that position, and now he's under Chad Wilkes as they come off of 4. Little contact
there, yeah. Let's say trying to get back on throttle. And actually, surprisingly, I was surprised to see the 93 actually kind of bounced more than the 17 did. That 17 held really solid there. So say that, and that's usually unusual to see because usually you make some contact and that outside car is almost just going to always loop around there. So I'm glad to see that didn't come into play there. Didn't you mention Ryan Kelly? He's moved his way up into 5th right behind those guys. And then you see we mentioned that 00 there of Lewis Woodall, and so he's in that kind of hornets that's like you talked about. You see the 94 Maxwell Caldwell's gotten by him now, just barely clears the 25 of Kevin Freese. He's going to fall into that 6th spot.
Yeah, but Lewis is doing well. I mean, these are tough drivers in this league. It's not an easy place to race by any means. So to be up here running where he is on 10 laps, older tires, and everybody around him, that's not too bad.
Yeah, so he's definitely doing what he needs to do here. So right now we got 15 to go. Come across the line is going to be 14 to go. Right now Larry Yingling's got about a 2 to 3 10-second advantage over Chad Wilkes. Kevin and Brown right behind him. I say there's no point showing the interval because it's less than a car length between the two of them here. I say Kevin trying to see if he can find a way around that 17, but right now Chad holding very strong in that 17 car.
Yeah, big race back here between the 13 and the 94.
Yeah, Maxwell's gotten to the inside of Ryan Kelly here. You have to wonder maybe that little bit of right front or that right side damage when he caught the wall may have slowed him down a bit. And it looks like Maxwell going to grab that spot to move Maxwell back up into that top 5 And like you said, Dale, that's a huge recovery for him after that contact on the inside wall towards earlier in the race when those two made contact with one another. And you almost wonder if that might be Ryan saying like, "Hey, sorry about that. That like, maybe he feels like that was on him. It's like, hey, that's on me. You go ahead. I'm not gonna risk hurting both of us this time."
Yeah, and sometimes that's the safe way to do it. That's the logical way to do it. They still got 12 laps of racing, still tires in the pit if they need them. So just let them go and keep the car clean.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, leaders right now, this is 30 laps since they've last pitted. Oh, Chad Wilkes loose in 1 and 2, saves it. Not sure if there's contact on the entry or not, but he got big loose there, Dale. It's going to open up the opportunity for Kevin to try to get around him. Andrew Pleshy going to try to follow through as well. And it looks like Kevin will clear, move up to that second spot. Now, we'll see if Andrew can follow through as well and grab that spot. But right now, I think Chad's going to have the momentum on the exit. But actually, Andrew gets a good exit off of 4 there.
I went back and looked at that, Chad Wilkes loose incident, and I'm not trying to show the pop. There definitely was a little bumper-to-bumper action. Kevin Brown needs to run.
Yeah, he's definitely doing so. I say he cleared him, and he is definitely running away. I say it looks like about a half a second between the two of them already. And I mean, and it's closing laps of a playoff race at Loudon. Kevin knows he's been up front a lot tonight, so he does not want to miss out any potential opportunities here. But again, I mean, that's one of those things, though. You do that and you kind of open the door. It's like, all right, well, I used him up. He might be returning the favor at some point in the future. So just one of those things you got to be careful about. Like you said, you kind of if you dish it, you have to be ready to take it as well. So I didn't go look at it yet. Well, if we get an opportunity, I'll try to take a look. But we definitely have seen that more often than not at races at Loudon. Not really here as much, but definitely on the NASCAR side of things. There's a certain thing we've heard of called the bump and run.
Yeah, and that's it. There's a difference between wrecking a guy and moving a guy. And he just gave him a little shot, got him a little loose, didn't hit him hard enough to wreck him. And you got to know the driver you're doing that to. You know the experience level and their ability. If you hit a guy like Chad Wilkes or not hit him but bump him, he's going to be able to handle it. Larry Yingling's going to be able to handle it. Kevin Brown's going to be able to handle it.
Me, not so much. However, though, we were watching a huge fight while we were talking about that, though. Andrew Pleshy and sorry, I'm losing names here. Maxwell Caldwell having a huge fight. Again, a little bit of contact between them. To say that allowed Ryan Kelly to sneak on by. And while they've been fighting for that position, you see almost 3 wide here off of 2. That also allowed the 25 of Kevin Freese. He snuck into the top 5. So he's been having a pretty solid evening, but he is definitely moving further forward than he's been all race as well.
Yeah, with coming to 7 to go, Kevin Brown is on the hunt. He was over 2/10 faster than Larry that time, or the time before. This time he was actually substantially slower.
Yeah, Larry picked up. I think he saw that pace and say he reacted to it. And that's Larry to a T. He kind of manages these gaps and knows exactly what he needs to do when. But say right now, though, Maxwell Caldwell, he is giving no prisoners. He's going to go right back after Kevin Freese. Kevin's going to try to look back after him, but Maxwell going to protect that inside inner turn number 3, move Maxwell back up into that top 5 position. I'll say right now we got pretty good battles here all throughout the track right now. The 13 and the 17 starting to close on one another as well for the 3rd position. So I'll say, like I said, though, Dale, 6 to go here, so it's all starting to kind of come to the T where things really start to kick off.
Yeah, and you see a lot of movement on the track, especially, Max Caldwell's obviously not happy with how his days turn out. Could be, top 3 easily, sitting back here in 5th. I'd be happy with the 5th place finish here, but Max wants a little more. Yeah,
I mean, when you look at, you got all your playoff contenders all within that top 5. You're like, oh, I don't want to be that 5th of these guys, Robbie Richards, got to mention him too, Dale, on the 12 car. He's had a huge recovery. He's all over the back now of the 82 of Andrew Pleshy. Robbie, one of those that pitted under one of those previous yellows, so he's got slightly fresher tires. But, I mean, for getting spun out twice, I mean, he's had a great recovery in that 12 car up into that 8th position. So hats off to him. But you were talking about that gap up front, Dale, saying it is definitely starting to shrink slowly but surely. 4 to go here. Also got a good battle with the 13 and the 17 here for that 3rd spot. So we got a couple of fights up front here that are definitely going to be worth watching.
Yeah, the 93 there in 2nd. He was the fastest car on the track that time by, which is impressive because definitely not the freshest tire, but he really wants to get to Larry.
Yeah, I mean, he's within striking distance. So he's going to want to get a little closer to have a real shot at it. We saw those two run door to door earlier in the race for several laps, so I say we got across the line here, 3 to go at New Hampshire. I say right now that gap between them is just about 0.3 of a second, maybe just about 4, depending on kind of where they are on the track. But again, Kevin was about 0.08 of a second quicker than Larry that last time by.
Yeah, and that's, this is what happens when cautions come into play and the tire strategies get mixed up. Like Kevin is better right now than Larry, obviously, just not a whole lot of time left.
Yeah, this time looked like Larry had a pretty good lap that time. Yeah, this time about 1/10 quicker to Larry as we cross the line there. 2 to go. So for Larry, I think what he wants to see here, he wants that white flag to come out. Does not want to see a late race restart here. As you can see, I think Kevin's starting to burn off that right rear, trying to do everything he could to get after that white flag here.
Yeah, you gotta use whatever tire you got left. I mean, he's so close.
And you see the white flag is out. He is going to make it across. So 1 to go here at New Hampshire. Larry Yingling just needs to keep it clean one more lap. Again, these two have been kind of trading fast laps between the two of them. But right now I think Larry's got enough margin. Say again, still a really good fight here for third. As I said, Ryan Kelly, huge loose off of turn number 2. That might cost him the opportunity to try to make a shot at it. But through 3 and 4, Larry Yingling going to come out of the turn. He's got to make sure he keeps it nice and easy on the throttle, doesn't spin the tires. Larry Yingling going to pick up the win here. Playoff race number 1 at Loudon. Kevin and Brown going to grab second. And then that 17 of Chad Wilkes going to get our third position, able to hold off Ryan Kelly, Maxwell Caldwell. I'm following a couple drivers. He mentioned the bump and run, and just trying to see if there's any little bit of frustration left. You can see they're just hounding one another as they come into the pits. So I think that might tell the tale on that side of things. As Larry Yingling, trying to get the big slide, full speed slide there. He's going to get the Chad Knaus dent in the fenders there. Make sure he passes Tech in that 67 car.
Larry did exactly what he needed to do in the first race of the playoffs. Now he doesn't have anything to worry about next week. If you're going to be in it, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, Larry doing what Larry does best. And it wasn't like it was just a complete dominant performance from Larry. I mean, he was up front all race long. The first portion we saw him drop back a little bit. But then once it was all said and done, he got that track position. Then he worked. That pole position, Dale. I mean, that gave him that control of the start and the restarts, I should say. And I mean, he definitely took that to its full advantage.
Yeah, and that was the difference. It allowed him, to beat Kevin Brown off pit, let him get out in front, control the race. As Larry just blows it up on the front stretch here. But that really made the difference.
Yeah, definitely making sure not having to pass Tech tonight in that 67. They kind of got the rear, the front, got the motor. So that car is going to pass Tech, no problems now, Dale.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I'm sure he's excited.
Yeah.
He gets to take it easier next week, though I don't think he will.
Nah, Larry's going to do what Larry does best, and he's going to try to go out for it all again. So this will be an interesting interviews because we've seen the contact between the 93 and the 17 before, and like you mentioned, the bump and run a little bit as well. Didn't get a chance to go back and look at that one, but we're going to wind up interviewing the two of them. So we'll kind of have to see what the thoughts are on both ends there. So we're going to start things off with the 17 here of Chad Wilkes. Once I find the right camera angle, there we are. Alright, so we're going to bring in Chad Wilkes on 17 car, qualified in the 7th position, worked his way up into 3rd. Obviously a tough one tonight, Chad, just with the kind of the push loose that you guys had to experience, and of course with this high horsepower, low downforce. I know you're one that's all about the throttle control. We know how good you are on the road racing side of things as well. I guess the first question is, I know obviously the setup maybe not where you would have been how you would have preferred it to be, but were you able to use any of that kind of the finesse from road racing to kind of be able to work around through this track, especially on the throttle?
Yeah, no, everything was going good. I figured some stuff out at the very end of the race. I was in front of the 93 car and I was watching what he was doing, and he was by far the fastest guy, and just started running his line until he tried to take me out, and that burnt my tires up. But until then, I was kind of just really staying on par with Larry, and maybe could have made up a little bit of ground. And yeah, just I mean, it was tough at the beginning, but as the race went on, I got more and more comfortable figuring out that low line and trying to hook that low line. And at the end of the race, feel like I was where I wanted to be. I was running good. I was as fast as anybody, and yeah, just got taken out essentially. Luckily, I saved it and didn't ruin my race. But yeah, I mean, the setup wasn't great, but it's good to be able to put it in the driver's hands.
Yeah, so it's always, I say, whenever you have the opportunity to, like I said, to where you guys have more input than maybe the car itself. Always a good night or always a good time to have those for the races like tonight. But and say, unfortunately, I'd say we kind of caught the tail end of it. Didn't have a chance to go back to take a look at it. So Dale went back and he kind of took a look at it, and yeah, definitely sounded like a kind of one of those bump and run situations there. But we kind of mentioned, like, there's times though where there's certain drivers that you do it and you feel like, okay, yeah, I feel like they can save it and kind of go on from there. I'm sure it doesn't make you feel any better, but I'm guessing we're kind of mentioning too, like afterwards, like, well, Kevin better run, because if Chad gets back to me, I'm sure the favor will get kind of repaid. And say that's one of those things in racing where if you're going to make that move, you kind of have to expect it back in return, I'm guessing.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not allowed to do anything, so I definitely, I would get penalized, I'm sure, if I did it. I'm sure he'll be okay. And that's just how it goes here. But yeah, I mean, it sucks. It really, like, a bump and run's different. If you run, rub somebody's bumper, that's different. I went back and looked, I was braking right past the 3 marker every time going into 1 and 2. So, he knew what to expect. And a bump and run's different than knocking me sideways and toasting my tires. And I do think I might have had a chance. Don't get me wrong. I 100% know that he was the fastest guy all race. But luckily I'd kind of figured something out there at the end until he burnt my tires up with me trying to save it. I mean, I was pretty sideways there. I mean, I thought I was going for sure. I was really fortunate to save it. So yeah, I mean, it sucks. It sucks that it's the same thing over and over, but I'm sure nothing will happen, and we'll go to Phoenix, but Phoenix will be my last race. So, I won't have much to lose.
Well, as I say, obviously you got one more to go to try to get into that Final Four. Obviously, so I mean, like I said, not the overall result you're hoping for tonight, but still, I mean, a third place finish, nothing to kind of hang your head on. And then so obviously next week you got that one, like I said, and get that top 4 aim for Phoenix. So obviously you're gonna kind of goal obviously to try to finish as strong as you can there. So any thoughts on kind of the strategy for the next? Well, I guess the next one to lead into that Final Four ideally.
Yeah, I mean, the hope is for Larry or Kevin to win. If I don't, that was the mindset tonight. I was really happy with either one of them winning and trying to get a top 5 because of the way the playoff bonuses, me and Kevin came in tied. Larry just, I think, whatever, the 1 bonus point behind or whatever. So I was hoping if I didn't win, either one of them would win, and that would keep me, in a good position of top 5. And I really wasn't expecting to end up running good. I knew I was really good on restarts. I could tell in practice I was really good on restarts. So I was able to make up a lot of spots on restarts really all night to kind of make up. But, once we got running, I don't think I passed one car after maybe 2 laps into a run all night. So I knew I had to try to take advantage and then just kind of hold on wherever I was from there. As the tires got older, I wasn't nearly as good on old tires. So, yeah, I mean, it ended up working out and just trying to keep it safe and keep it together. And yeah, I mean, I was happy right where I was, just driving. I was driving hard. I was trying to catch Larry, but I definitely wasn't going to do anything crazy. And if Kevin had gotten a huge run early in the race, he got a big run on me, and he went, and that was fine because he's faster. And so I was completely fine with finishing third, with either one of them winning. That'll be the same mindset against Texas. I definitely hope Larry would be the one to win if I don't. But if either one of them win and I finish right behind them, then I'll be in good shape. So, and then we'll go to Phoenix where I will have absolutely nothing to lose, and I'm going to do everything it takes to win that money.
I mean, I'd say there's times where, that's we've seen that before with leagues and with in real life. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to try to get the overall prize at the end of things. So, Say before I let you go though, say got to give the floors. I know sometimes your dad's helping, sometimes he's watching, so I definitely want to give you the floor. Any thanks and shout outs for tonight.
Yeah, I actually do think that that my dad was watching. He's been off of work. He's got tested positive for COVID a little while, like a week ago. He's fine and everything, but obviously he hasn't been going to work. So I'm pretty sure I talked to him actually right before I got into the room. So I'm pretty sure he's watching. So yeah, that's really good. And I hope he feels better. And yeah, just thanks to all of my teammates. We practiced a little bit for this race, not quite as much as we usually do, but it's always good to run with Larry, Maxwell, Ryan, Andrew. I think that's all we had in there tonight. And that's all at practice was. So yeah, it's great to run with those guys. I'm glad that they were all able to come up with a decent finish. I know Ryan and Maxwell were really, really fast too, and Andrew had a couple really good restarts too. So it's good for all of them to be able to run well too. So thanks to them, and yeah, thanks to the broadcast. And that's it.
Yeah, so I definitely hope your dad's able to get back going again soon. So I'm glad to hear it's not hurting him too much, but yeah, I definitely hope he gets back 100% here soon though, Chad.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, that's our third place finisher, Chad Wilkes. As you can kind of tell there, you mentioned that bump and run, Dale, and so definitely not the happiest about that one.
Yeah, I mean, different perspectives on it. Obviously, it's not what Chad wanted to have happen. Chad really had a shot, I think, to win this. I think Chad Wilkes has a shot to win anywhere we run, and sometimes the cards fall in your favor, and sometimes they don't. So.
Yeah, exactly right. So I say now we got to kind of go from that to the other end of the spectrum. Say kind of you have the bump and run and then you have the bump and run E. Probably in the wrong order there, but pull up our second place finisher tonight, Kevin Brown. Fast all night long, Dale. Say just unfortunately I think just the qualifying, Larry getting that number one pit stall kind of put him in kind of at a deficit there, not being able to kind of control that restart there, but definitely gave it all you had there on those couple of restarts, trying to work your way. Say because we were kind of talking about you were kind of in a tough spot there, being surrounded by some of these guys that race with one another, same Discord channels, all that kind of week in and week out. So definitely had a big deficit on those restarts. What was your game plan, I guess, on those final restarts to try to find a way to get back up there?
Yeah, definitely. I knew they were all teammates, and I knew I was in a bad position. Being right there in the middle of all of them, I was trying my best to time the restarts. I actually was going to try first gear, but then I realized probably shouldn't. I probably would have looped it around. But yeah, I tried keeping up with them, and comes to it, and me and Chad got together once again. Like I said, I'm surprised. I'm talking to you all this week. I'm surprised he didn't wreck me out like he did at Kansas. But what can I say? I guess what comes around goes around.
So that's where things kind of get difficult. Obviously, I say it's. I mean, like I said, obviously the contact at Kansas, and then the contact here. So unfortunately, wasn't able to catch the beginning of it. So he just kind of caught the last portion of it where he's able to hang on to it. But it's. I mean, obviously it's a tough position. I mean, you knew you were quick, and was at that point was it just you're trying to get everything you could, even give yourself the opportunity to try to chase Larry back down to go for the win there.
Yeah, definitely. I knew I was quick all night, and it was really frustrating being behind them, especially with all the cautions. But the bump and run was definitely full on intentional. I meant to move them out the way. I knew if I couldn't get around him quick enough, I wouldn't be able to get up to Larry at all. Which we kind of got there to Larry at the end, but he was so good off the corner, and I could barely get to him. So
Well, I mean, that's how they go from time to time, unfortunately. So obviously 1 to go from the 8 to 4, and then the finale at Phoenix. Obviously, you're going to say it sounds like obviously, unfortunately, for you and Chad, not on the best of terms. Hopefully, find something to get that squared away, because it's one of those things where when you give the bump, you're probably expecting one in return at some point in the future, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, I mean, all season I've raced Chad and Maxwell and all of them perfectly fine, and it comes back around where if we're hard racing, we end up touching most of the time, and most of the time I'm on the good side of things where it's not my fault, but people seem to lose their crap and like to wreck people on purpose. But stuff happens. Like I said, I expect nothing less. Especially coming to Phoenix, we're racing for money. Expect nothing less. Yeah.
Well, playoff season number 1, Dale, looks like it's going to definitely kick off some craziness on these final couple of races here. That being said, though, Kevin, before we let you go, though, I say definitely got to give you the floor, though. Any thanks and shouts for your second place run here tonight?
Oh yeah, definitely. You guys, once again, came in the wrong car tonight. I meant to come in the, I think it was the Chevy, and I forgot to do that. But I wanted to get a win for y'all tonight, and I couldn't do it. But oh well, thank you for you guys for putting on the broadcast as usual. And Area 51 to let me come race.
All right, well, so enjoy it. I know you'll have some fun this weekend, so definitely have fun with the guys over at Darlington. Enjoy that one, and I look forward to catching you again here soon in the coming weeks.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Dale. Well, I say no lack of drama, I guess you could say, on that one. I say, however, the one person that say he's all right. Listen, let them fight amongst themselves and let him kind of drive off into the sunset. It's going to be that 67 of Larry Yingling. Say Larry started from the pole, kind of dropped back a couple spots early on. We kind of figured you're just kind of doing your thing, saving your tires, because I'll say once those couple of yellows kind of fell, didn't get those long runs you're kind of strategizing for. I say it definitely seemed like you kind of stepped it up a little bit, and then of course that final pit stop got the lead, and then from there just did not look back to the end. I mean, take us through your night there.
Well, for one, I did not expect top 3 interview. I had a lot of trouble in practice just trying to find a rhythm, especially entering the corner. Then prior to qualifying, I made a brake bias change just to try something else, and it seemed to help me a little bit. Then got the pole for, and I was very surprised, very lucky probably, and I really just didn't have the pace compared to Kevin got to me, and I just limmed by. Then Maxwell got to me and limmed by, and I knew I just couldn't run him down, so I was just hoping maybe take my time. Maybe I'll save more right rear, but then we had a caution, and we pitted, and everyone around me, in my team, were telling each other tire wear, and I pretty much had the same tire wear as everyone else, and I was struggling, so I knew from there I had to change my driving styles, entering and getting back on the gas, and seemed to pick my pace up. Then Kevin got to me, one, I got lucky when Ryan and Maxwell got together, and that just gave me the lead. And then Kevin got to me, then we had a good battle side by side, and I learned something under braking. He was just really, not dive bombing, but he was just that good entering. So just the rest of the race, another brake bias change, I upped my pace, but I still had nothing for Kevin. I just got lucky at the end.
Well, I mean, to say luck will only carry you so far. I mean, Larry, obviously, like I said, found some things during the race, made the right adjustments to help you out there. And I mean, I think obviously the biggest one, I think, is that number 1 pit stall, obviously, as well. As we saw you able to kind of when you leave that stall, you almost kind of grab a gear, jump a little bit, and able to cross that line. As long as you kind of enter close enough to into the driver leading at the pits. So I say you kind of the combination of all those things, I think, put you in the right spot. And then, like I said, once you got into the lead and kind of just able to seem like set sail and kind of do what you do best and just kind of manage your pace to the guys around you. Because I mean, Kevin mentioned he got to you, but then your exits were just so strong at the end of that run. Nothing he could do to get to you to really put a challenge on there. So. I say definitely don't sell yourself short there, Larry. I think you did exactly what you needed to do tonight, and putting yourself in a great spot, obviously, to get to that Final Four.
Appreciate it. Yeah, that pit stop definitely was huge. When I entered my pit box, I always suck at it, but for once I told myself that was pretty good. So I was expecting at least coming out second, and when the jack dropped and started hitting the gas, I looked in my mirror and I didn't see Kevin, so I was like, ooh, I might get the lead, and took it, and luckily how the cautions played out and who was in what position. I had teammates that was pretty much lined up behind me every time, so that just kept putting Kevin behind him. And by the time Kevin would get past them, another caution would come out, and it just I definitely I say lucked out, but it was a pretty good team effort all around.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you took advantage of the opportunities that you're able to kind of have, like I said, because, I mean, yeah, and that's the thing is when you've got teammates and friends you work with, like Chad Wilkes, Ryan Kelly, Maxwell Caldwell, Andrew Pleshy, I mean, and you guys are all up front. I mean, it gives you so many opportunities and just options to kind of work with. So you're able to make the most of those. Because I mean, at the same time, you got to be careful where you work with your teammates. Dale, I had mentioned on one of the restarts, it's great that you want to help them out to try to maybe give them a better spot too. But you got to be careful, of course, as well, not to kind of give them an opening to try to jump you for the lead as well. You know.
Yeah, definitely. It was either last restart or restart before. I saw Ryan was 6th on fresher tires, and the way my teammates were 2nd and 4th were also my teammates. I was definitely trying to talk myself out of doing the countdown because I figured Ryan would get up there. But I believe the track temp was starting to go down a lot, so I was starting to, even on older tires, we were still only 3 or 4 tenths off our fastest time. So I knew it would be a little hard for Ryan also.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I mean, again, you did exactly what you need to do. Say, avoided the drama, got a great result tonight. Say, getting that win from the pole position. So, with that though, definitely got to give you the floor here tonight. Any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that win this evening?
Shout out all my teammates: Maxwell Caldwell, Angie Pleshy, Ryan Kelly, and Chad Wilkes. And shout out to my sponsor as always, Hampshire Performance. If you need any work done on your Ellis engine or GM vehicle, contact them on Facebook to see what they can do for you. Shout out to Kevin for another great race between us, and you guys for the broadcast as always. Looking forward to Charlotte, where no pressure.
Yeah, so it's always nice to have the pressure off your shoulders, just go and have fun, but don't expect anything less of you to be up there battling for the win, top 3, top 5, something like that. So enjoy this one though, and like I said, to say relax a little bit, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week at Charlotte.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Dale, with that, we'll go ahead and pull up our final results for tonight. As I mentioned, Larry England getting the win just over half a second over Kevin Brown. Chad Wilkes there in 3rd, Ryan Kelly 4th, Maxwell Caldwell rounding out our top 5. And then you got Kevin Fries, the first of our non-playoff drivers, in 6th. Andrew Pleshy, Robbie Richards 7th and 8th. Lewis Whittle in 9th, James Ledford rounding out our top 10. And then 11th through 18th, you've got Nicholas Winook, Todd Merkel, Brandon Pasalaco, not the night he was looking for in that 21 machine. Gabe Butler, our final playoff driver, not having a night he was looking for either, finishes in 14th. And Michael Spell in 15th. Eric Laurie, Josh Schofer, Dude Conrad, say they all a couple laps down, early retirements as well. But yeah, so say that's race number 1 of the playoffs done here, Dale. And saying, so the drama from Kansas kind of continued over and kind of honestly kind of escalated a little bit after tonight at Loudon as well. So I say it's going to get interesting, these final 2, it looks like.
Yeah, I think that goes without saying. It's going to be interesting going into the next 2, especially, there's so much on the line for a lot of drivers at this point. And then going into Phoenix, I expect it'll be, every man for himself at that point trying to win the championship.
Yeah, it's going to be another short track, so you're going to have the high horsepower low down for us. I say it's going to make Phoenix that more tricky as well. So say we'll be back again next week, obviously, for that one. Next up for us is going to be will be the Super Speedway Cup Series, their opening playoff race as well. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Say definitely a little bit of everything this evening. So happy Friday Eve though, and as always, if you can, try to stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, and until next time, have a good night.